Hi, Purpose Partner. Welcome to another episode of Rise to Your Purpose, a personal and spiritual development podcast for female entrepreneurs with a mission. We are your hosts, Brandie and Natalie.
We are founders of Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising, where we guide women to build profitable businesses online through diversifying your income, using kingdom principles in marketing, and operating in a spirit of rest so that you can create kingdom impact.
After this episode, be sure to join our Purpose Partner Facebook community and get your copy of our Rise to Your Purpose devotional so we can continue to serve you as we partner together in our faith and business. Let's dive into today's episode.
All right. Hey, ladies, welcome back to another episode of Rise to Your Purpose. I am here with Billie-Lovette Johnson and really excited to just share her and her message with you ladies because I just really think it's going to be something that is really helpful to a lot of women. And especially after, Brandie and I have worked with different women through our Purpose Partner community or just connected with women. I know, myself has gone through my own battles with different things of, with mental wellness. And so Billie actually, let me just share a little bit about her. She's an author and we connected and I loved her. She has a book. It's called Depression and the Woman of God, My Journey to Healing. And I just know that this is a book that so many women, I think, will find encouragement and comfort from, and also I think tangible ways to help them go through their own journey if they are also, dealing with different depression and things as well. And so she also speaks at different events to help bring awareness to domestic violence and mental health and depression. And Billie uses her voice and her pen to encourage, uplift, and inspire others. She's an inspiring missionary, a mother of 4, a grandmother of 7, and she has faced her past to change her today to set up a brighter, healthier, and wealthier future for her grandchildren and future generations. So I love that because it is breaking that cycle and bringing prosperity and abundance to her family and then to women around the world. She is on a mission to shine her light. And you ladies know we love partnering with women to work together as we all shine our light in the business world and in our sphere of influence that God has placed us in. And so I know she's working to shine light on the dust in the corner, she calls it, and that is depression. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And maybe there will be a word for some of you listening of maybe if you have gone through depression or maybe you're dealing with some sort of mental health or you're on a mental wellness journey. And so I think that this is going to be something super uplifting and helpful for women. So thank you for being here with us today and talking with all of these women. And so I'd love for you, Billie, to just introduce yourself a little bit more and kind of share with us a little bit about your journey and how you came to, to write this book.
Okay. Thank you so much, Natalie, for having me.
Yeah.
And like you said, I am an author, and my book, Depression and the Woman of God, I wrote it during this pandemic. I wanted to write a book, and I had started writing something totally different. But God always has his own plan. So he kept dropping this title in my spirit, and I was like, okay, I got the title, but I'm still trying to write, something different. But God, he really let me know that this is the book that he wanted me to write at this time, because there's so many people that are going through depression, and especially, us in the church. It's not always easy to voice our issues and things like depression, because to be honest, a lot of times it's okay, pray about it and go. Well, we do pray, but God also put professional people in our lives to help us along this journey. So one of the things that I always say is, you don't have to choose between your faith and professional help. And that's one thing that a lot of women, not saying anything negative or anything, but that's one thing that a lot of us have to get to know. And it took me a minute to learn that it goes hand in hand. The word and professional help, you know. So that was what brought me to writing this book. And the more I wrote this book, the more I began to heal inside, which places that I thought I had already healed, this book really just dug deep down inside of me and just healed places that I thought that's the dust in the corner. This book really helped me to sweep out the dust in the corner. And
Oh,
it was that depression. So
wow.
I grew up undiagnosed depression.
Mm.
So as a kid, I was labeled as, you know, a bad kid or things like this. But I come to find out I wasn't bad, I was sad. And there's a difference.
Mm.
And if we take the time now with our children and our grandchildren to dig down to see what's going on underneath the surface, a lot of times we'll find that depression down in there that we need to address at an early age. I'm
Right.
sorry, someone is doing work
Oh,
outside.
is that what it is? I thought maybe your grandchildren were playing, so that's so funny. Well, yeah, I'm sure our listeners will be forgiving of the extra noise construction. Yeah, well, I love that because I think that writing, I never thought of myself as a writer, honestly, and I know you have our devotional too, but I have found that other things that I have gone through in my life, like if I could just write about it, it started to help me just process and allow myself to think about it instead of, like you said, you kind of leave it as that. I love that you use that, the dust in the corner, because that kind of is like, you think, oh, I'm okay. And you just kind of toss those feelings aside instead of really trying to finish addressing or processing, all those thoughts or emotions that you have. And so I think that that is such a great way to heal is through that writing process and that creativity that can come out. So I love that the Lord laid that on your heart and you were faithful to do the work that he planned for you to do. It's one of my favorite verses, is that he has a destiny and he will give you and equip you with the tools that you need to complete it. And so I'm
And
grateful you were faithful to that call.
and you know what? All the time I already had the book in my journals and
Mm,
my different writings throughout the years. As I began to look through my notebooks, the book was there. God had been writing this book in my life all along. So this book is so special. It is so special. And I always say that God is the author. I'm just the co-author. I'm
mhm.
the one that just wrote it down on the paper because he orchestrated this thing to the T. And it's just so awesome.
Yeah.
I went back through my notebooks and there was those entries and those dates and those things that, like I said, I thought I had forgotten about. And I was able to sweep out that corner. I was able to sweep out the corner.
That's so inspiring. So I'd love if you could share maybe a couple of things, maybe they're in the book, or a couple of things that you have done that have helped you to heal and go and that have helped you in depression. And I do love that you mentioned that just because we're believers doesn't mean we can't use the tools that, of like medicine or going to a counselor. Like those things are tools that I think God also allows us to use, and we don't have to feel ashamed, to access those things as well. So I love that you mentioned that. But yeah, what are a couple of things that maybe we can share with women that could start helping them on their journey to healing and processing and going through their state of depression?
One thing is when I began to see myself as God saw me.
Mm.
We have our affirmations and we say them, but do we really see ourselves as them? So I had to learn to see myself the way I imagine God seeing me. And I know he loves me and I know he wants the best for me. So just to visualize him loving on me made me love on me even more, and it got me out of the way so that the healing could start, you know.
Yeah.
So, it's our affirmations are awesome, but we have to not just say them, but we have to feel them and know them and believe them. And
Yeah.
for a long time, I was just saying them. I wasn't, so it had to get down in me.
Yeah, that's so true. I went through that same thing of like it was, and even, and I come from the network marketing world, and that's something common they share is like have your affirmations, and it's easy to get, to say them, but then you're like, you don't really, after a while, you don't really necessarily believe them, or they might not be attached to anything too that you feel like you actually can see yourself as that. So then we shifted to, and one of the things we teach our purpose partners is, activate those scriptures and use, turn those into your affirmations. But then the next key is like exactly what you just said, is you have to come to believe and come into agreement with God's word and who he says you are. And that I know is huge for me. And I love that you said the visualizing part. And so I was Brandie and I were at a rest intensive retreat. And that was one of the most amazing experiences. Was she put on some soaking music and said, as much as you can, just like visualize yourself with Jesus and yourself with God, or allow, don't try and pressure anything. Don't try and force anything, and try to eliminate distractions. As soon as you get distracted, kind of bring yourself back. And I had the most incredible experience with the Lord, and I had never before. And it was just so amazing. And I like came into their presence and could just feel that. And so, yeah, it's just, that's such a huge part, I think, of when you come to know how loved you are and really believe it and accept it. I think it's all about receiving it too. And
Yes.
knowing that there's no shame or condemnation anymore because of a new covenant, and really coming to agreement with that. So yeah, that's huge. I mean, that was a huge piece for me too. So I love that. What else would you say was that you can share?
Um, you know, like I say, to take all of our emotions to the Lord also. Even the emotions that you don't know what to call them. You might not know to label it as depression or anxiety or whatever it is. I had to learn to say, here, Lord, this is how I'm feeling. I don't know what it is, but I know that you know me from my beginning to my end. So you know what's going on with me, and I give it to you. I give it to you. A lot of times, and I tell women this all the time, you don't have to, for one, depression doesn't have to have a reason. Depression will sneak up on you when you think that you're doing just fine. For a long time, depression was like my Goliath until I had to use my word, which was my slingshot, and take him down. I was like the other brothers standing back afraid of this big Goliath. But then God brought the David out in me, and I was able to face Goliath and walk into what God had for me.
Yeah.
So, but it's just, I try not to ramble when I'm
No, I know. I think that's so great. And I love that you said, like, he laying it at the feet of Jesus, surrendering the feeling as soon as you have it, like surrendering that to him. And I love this scripture, and I can't remember where it is exactly, but it's like, even when you don't know what to say or exactly what to pray for, the Holy Spirit and Jesus are already interceding for you, and already are like it talks about, they're groaning, and they're already praying for you, even when you don't know. But it's about just like taking that to him and allowing him to heal you, right? And to continue praying for that healing. But yeah, I'm so excited for women to be able to get this book, Depression and the Woman of God. Ladies is what it's called. And so you can continue hearing her story, but also I think really taking away tangible steps of how you can be on your own journey to healing. And I know you actually even continue supporting women. You have a monthly webinar for women who are going through depression or any type of mental wellness journey that they might be on. So can you tell us a little bit more about that as well? And I know your next one will be coming up too.
Okay, I do have a webinar that will be this coming Friday, the 18th, and it's 4 ways to move from pain to purpose. And that's where I give my tips and my strategy of how I moved out of that depression and into my purpose, which is to help other women move out of that depression and into their purpose.
Yeah.
So that's going to be for the 18th. And then next month, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So next month, my webinar will be, let's see, it will be ways to build legacy after loss.
Ooh.
Ways to build legacy after loss. I went through a couple of hard hits at the end of last year as far as losing family members. So I did a couple of webinars in the past about how depression and grief are similar and the differences and everything. So I want to come back and do one about legacy, to leave a legacy. And that will help you to not get sucked into that depression. When you feel that you're doing something that's constructive and something that's allowing your loved ones' memory to live on in positive ways, then that helps you through the grief.
Yeah, I was just listening to Trent Shelton actually, and he shared something like that on a podcast where he lost his mom and his grandmother all not like too far from each other, like just maybe a few months or something like that. And that took him, he said, into a bout of depression, and just he felt like he was losing his purpose, and his two most closest women to him, were gone now. And COVID had hit. So this is like in 2020. And so he lost football, like everything was kind of stripped from him. And then he said he kind of had a revelation. And I think one of his best friends had committed suicide. So just a lot of heartache and loss that he went through. And then he had a revelation of like, it kind of just envisioned his mom telling him, I did not die so you would die with me. Like I did not live this life and give you a head on life and a lead on life for you, and then for me to pass away, but you to die with me. And so that gave him a lot of encouragement and hope. And he said he really started refining his purpose again and really moving into what could he do to leave a legacy. So I think that's amazing because it really shifts your perspective, and like you said, helps you to start stepping into a call. Like there's a purpose for you, and that you're here still. And so what can you do with that time? So yeah, so that'll be super empowering and impactful. And so so for those of you wondering, if depending on when you listen to this, so February 18th and then March, do you know the date in March yet?
Um,
If not,
it's going to be the last Friday of March. I think it's the 25th.
Okay. Yeah, let me look at that because so I think, yep, it's going to be March 25th is the last Friday. So that'll be where you ladies can get ways to building legacy after loss for anybody that would definitely, and we'll put the link for how you can get started or get signed up for those in the show notes as well. And we'll make sure to put her book link so you can get the book Depression and the Woman of God by Billie-Lovette Johnson. And then what are some of the things that you're excited about? You shared with me a little bit about some things you're working on in the background that you're super passionate about. Would you want to give us a little bit about what's coming?
Oh, yes. I am super, super excited about my planner that's coming out, and it's called Visions, Goals, and Dreams. And it will be out hopefully next week. It should be dropping. It's in pre-sales right now. It is in pre-sales right now, but it should be live on Amazon next week.
Yeah. So by the time everyone's hearing this, it'll be live, I think. So so that's exciting. I know so many women, like I can't wait to share this with our community because we get asked that all the time. I was telling you that everyone's like, what Christian planner are you using? So I think this is going to be so cool and a great way for women to start their year.
It is awesome. It has pages for your prayer, your you pray over your goal before your monthly goal, or if you break them down to weekly goals. It's just packed full of things, I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I'm like getting excited now. So this is
Yeah.
great. So yes,
And
definitely y'all guys will have to get the planner. And then anything else you'd like to share with us today?
yes, I am opening up soon. I'll be opening up my new group, and it's called the Purpose Zone. And that is where we can go and we discover our purposes. And from there, if we need coaching, we get direction to which coach. But you know what? One thing that I've discovered, and this is going to be a huge part of the purpose zone, you don't know what coach you need until you know what your purpose is, until you know what it is that you're in need of. So I made that mistake before. I was just like, okay, I need a coach. I need a coach. Well, I just got a coach, and that's all it was. I didn't grow with the coach. So the purpose zone is going to be where we go through different workshops and exercises and different things, prayer and fellowship, and figure out what is your purpose?
Mm.
What are you passionate about? What has God placed in your heart for you to do? And then from there, there's coaches, different coaching sessions, or different things that you can do. But it all starts with you discovering your purpose. When you enter into the purpose zone, and then you just go from there.
Yeah, I love that. So then, because then you uncover your purpose and you start living in your purpose and connect with a coach so that you can continue growing. And then, as you all ladies know, we then love rising to our purpose. And so, yes, we're all about purpose here and really getting in alignment with the call that God has for you. So I'm really just so thankful that we connected and met. And
I have one more thing
yeah,
coming
please.
up.
Yes.
I have one more thing coming up. My t-shirts, purpose wear.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I'm working on those as I speak. They should be available next week also. So when they're available, I'll shoot you the link and everything and let you know about that.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's definitely in alignment with our community for sure. So that is really exciting. And if you don't mind, I'd love to. I know we were going to wrap it up, but it kind of had me ask that question because I think there's so many women that have aspirations, or they have these desires, or they have these thoughts or ideas of, oh, I'd love to do this, or I'd love to, start creating maybe their own course, or or do something like t-shirts or write a book. So what do you think it has been for you to, to step into that, to, do you have any advice or things that you did that helped you to like go ahead and, write the book? I know, as far as getting it done, right? Like, what did you do, or to start your purpose zone, like kind of what does that look like? Or having the t-shirts, how do you go from idea to actually happening? Do you have any advice for that?
First off is prayer. First thing is prayer.
Yeah.
Involve God in everything, and I allowed him to lead me. I made a few mistakes. I might have went left when he wanted me to go right, but he always turned me back around.
Yeah. Always
Get
redirect.
right back on track. It's that burning desire inside of me to make a difference. And it's just God has just been tugging at me so hard to step into my purpose. I was on Facebook for over 10 years, just in the background. Last year, God said, "You're coming out of the background." And I had never gone live, never done any interviews or anything. But I realized that it's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's for other people. It's for God's glory, and it's for the other people. See, we're all assigned to someone. And if we're not doing what God has called for us to do, then there's someone out there waiting on us to show up. So we have to show up. We have to show up in order to help the next woman, to help the next family, to help the next community.
Yeah.
We have to show up.
I love that. I love, because even I know you said your group is about that, like kingdom connectors, and that we are all like, your call is affected and directly of impacting somebody else. So someone's waiting on you, like you said. And if you're not moving in action, right, it could be a slower process for what somebody else needed. And I've seen that happen in my own life where someone's like, man, I wish I would have met you ladies like sooner. And I said, me too. It's probably because I was somewhere too afraid, or, not being obedient. Or like you said, I went left when he's like, no, wait, you were supposed to turn right. So I think the more that we can partner with the Lord, that we can seek him first, and then we take those actions, like that those faith steps, even if you don't see the whole, you're not going to see every little piece. You just have to go.
That is it right there, that faith, because I am just a faith junkie. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but I know God knows what he's doing, and he's directing my steps. So I'm just walking on water.
Yeah, I love that. I have to quote what I heard when I was listening to Kingdom Driven Entrepreneurs. And they said, as long as we are connected to the body of Christ, there is no limit to what we can do, and that our kingdom assignments are interconnected. And I just thought that was so powerful, and also just so spot on. And so, yes. So I think that's a perfect way to end this, is that we want to encourage you ladies that wherever you are, that desire that's within you that hasn't been going away, or that thought that you've had, like, start looking at how you can take action on it. What is that next step for you? Do you need to start putting pen to paper? Do you need to get connected to a mentor? Do you need to go into prayer? Do you need to connect into a community? So what does that next step look like? Do you need to say yes to something that you've been maybe afraid to? So yeah, take that next step. And then, like we said, definitely get connected to Billie so you can jump on her next webinars, and follow her on social media so you can get connected to her groups and the exciting things that she has coming. And we'll put all the links to the things we shared as well today in the show notes so you can easily access them. But anything else before we go?
I just want to thank you again for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes,
and I got your my devotional, and I'll be starting it in the morning.
Yeah, so excited for you.
I'm just excited about that. I'm ready to share.
Yes, awesome. Well, we are excited to have you in our Purpose Partner community. And yeah, just thank you so much for this time. So we're excited to share what you have going on as well. And that's what we're all here about, Purpose Partners and collaborating together, because there's no competition in the kingdom. So we appreciate you, and we are praying for you, Purpose Partners. And yes, you can continue to share out this podcast as well with people who you think might benefit from it. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We would love to hear from you. So please share your takeaways by tagging @LiveVictorious over on Instagram and leave a review.
This will help us get more visibility and reach more women like you for the kingdom. We appreciate you and are praying for you as you shine your light in the business world and rise to your purpose.